Hi, so I was tagged by Joe Compton to do his Sunday FunDay Alice in Chains Facelift tag. So I'm just gonna jump right in. He basically took the 12 songs and then has like questions after that. So jump right in. So number one, We Die Young. Name an artist you love that died way too young. Um, Probably pick Stevie Ray Vaughan. There in my family we have what we call fetus songs, which is basically just some song or artist or band or whatever that I've heard and known since I was in my mom's womb. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was definitely one of those that I can just always remember my dad playing. Um, and I think just that's kind of where I first started really loving kind of like rock and blues and I think he's probably just my favorite of all of those fetus songs, fetus bands that my dad always played and like I was just kind of becoming aware with of who he really was when he died. So that's probably my pick for that one. So two, Man in the Box. Name a series that trapped you from the moment you started reading or watching it. Probably go book on that one for series, and I would say Chronicles of Narnia. That again is just something that I remember from really early on that has both always stuck with me, and at the time I just plowed through reading it on my own. And then also my aunt for our birthdays and Christmases for gifts, she would always read us books on tape. And Chronicles of Narnia are definitely books that she did that for that I can almost quote the whole thing because we listened to them over and over and over and just I loved the world building and the different fantasy elements of that and that's definitely just something that has always kind of influenced my imagination, I think. Three, Sea of Sorrow. Name a song, poem, book, or movie that makes you tear up every time. I don't really cry from songs that I can think of. Poetry, certainly not. Book or movie. I don't know. I become kind of a baby. Like I cry at everything now. It's probably movie. Probably like Braveheart. I think just because that was my family's very Irish Scottish, and there was always some weird like loyalty thing there. Or also with kind of the loyalty aspect from Lord of the Rings. I remember the first time, certainly, and I think every time after I watched it, especially the scene where Frodo's going off by himself and Sam says, "Of course you are, and I'm coming with you." And like just that loyalty just kind of makes me, ugh, like every time, and I tear up. Four, Bleed the Freak. Name a book or movie that you quote way too much. I probably quote books less often just because I assume people aren't going to know what I'm quoting, but I quote movies all the time and almost never contextually appropriate. Let's see, pick one. Grosse Point Blank. I quote quite frequently for no apparent reason, so go with that one. Five, I can't remember. Name the book or movie or band you always try to tell someone about, but you always forget the name or get it mixed up with something else. I have a big problem with bands and song titles too. I will be able to sing or at least quote every line in a song, but you ask me who did it, and I'm like, I have no idea. So, really, probably any band would fall into that. Definitely, I'm a little better about newer stuff, but definitely, again, like those fetus songs that I've just heard forever, and I probably know in the back of my head who did it, but couldn't tell you if I had to. Okay, six. Love, hate, love. Name a book, movie, album, band that you love that everybody else hates. I actually like Taylor Swift, so I'll stick with kind of the musical side of things. I think a lot of that is just because I know a lot of musicians who get kind of uppity, and she's too popular is kind of one thing, and there's just, I mean, she's a girl, so I guess that's probably a lot of it, but she's catchy, so probably that. Seven, it ain't like that. Name a book, movie, poem, song that everybody always gets wrong when you talk to you about it. I actually kind of go with a TV show as another option of that, which would be Lost. I loved Lost, and I know a lot of people have issues with how it ended, and so that's a big part of it. So one of the things of whenever anybody's like, oh, well, they were just dead the whole time, and I'm just like, no, they weren't, and it's just that drives me nuts, and then I will go off on the person, whether I know them or not, about why that they are. That's just not how that was. 8. Sunshine. Name your feel-good book, album, or movie. Probably, a lot of people say the Harry Potter books, but I'm probably more of a movie person with those. I can't reread books. So I know a lot of people will just finish Harry Potter, start back over, finish Harry Potter, start back over, but I can't reread. I just get bored, and I remember like everything, so it doesn't really do me any good in that way. But I'm also just more visual. And I mean, with the movies, there are things that they leave out that are in the books, but again, since I remember everything, I kind of go just insert that in the movies. But those are just fun. It's just, they're good stories and good overall story. So I probably slap those movies in once a year, like people kind of read them, usually around Christmas. So that's a thing. Put you down. Name the book you can't put down or the movie you can't stop watching even though you should. Again, I don't really reread books, so movie. I'll pick She's the Man for that, which I don't even know how. A friend and I stumbled upon that somehow, and I think probably with the excuse that it's very, 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 very loosely based on Twelfth Night. So yeah, that's just something I probably should stop watching, but I still watch it, and that's the very loud truck. 10. Confusion. Name the book, movie, or album you just don't get. I just don't get why everyone really, really likes Battlestar Galactica, which again is kind of more of a TV show, but they did movies kind of branching off of that, and those are actually what bother me more than the show. It had moments of brilliance, I think, as a series, but the way that they did their characters was not consistent and drove me crazy and didn't seem right. And those were, especially in the movies, I think it was just like, well, this is the plot that we want to have happen, so the character is going to do this to fit the plot, and that drives me crazy. Probably more than anything else in storytelling. So I will say the Battlestar Galactica movies, because I just don't understand why anybody would like them. 11. I Know Something About You. Name a book, movie, or album you have an obsessive insider info kind of love with. That I will pick a book, and that would be Sloane Crosley's I Was Told There Would Be Cake. It's kind of like a memoir-ish kind of thing, and the reason that I have kind of a little insider obsession thing with that is that my college group of friends and I used to make home movies just for fun. They were kind of spoofs, and we took I don't even know how many stories from that collection and kind of mashed them all together and made a movie. So I kind of have a weird love of that book for that reason. And then, I mean, that whole thing started just because there were a lot of weird little quirks that she has that either I or one of my other friends also share. And so that's just kind of a giggle book when I'm reading it, because I remember the things that we did with it in our movie. 12. The Real Thing. Name the book, movie, or album that really defines you or changed you in some profound manner. I've talked about Speaker for the Dead before. That was the book that first made me kind of want to be a writer, and I think that did change me in a kind of more profound manner of just like coming from a little more strict religious background, I guess you could say, and I was definitely reading that during a time when I was trying to more figure out what I believed and about how we should treat people and how we should engage the world. And the main message of that is kind of like telling the telling the truth of the people that you meet, and kind of the idea that the more you know someone, the less you can hate them. And I think that after reading that, that kind of shifted my like, oh, okay, I that is more how I want to approach people and the world. So, so okay, those are all the questions. And Joe tagged everyone who I would have thought to tag. So if you like this one, and I think this was a pretty cool tag idea, feel free to do it yourself. I will list the questions down below in the video. And I gotta go now.